Are you looking to buy a new baker board? Well, if you don't want to watch this entire video, let me cut it to you straight right now. Yes, buy a baker board if you want a high quality skateboard and are willing to pay a higher price for it. No, Baker is not sponsoring me for this video. I'm such a noob skateboarder that if they watched me skate, they would laugh and they would definitely not sponsor me. So everything I say in this video is my opinion and what I truly believe about the deck. Well, if you're still watching this video, I want to break down this review into 3 categories: skateability, durability, and pricing. So the first category is skateability, or how well does the deck skate? So most baker boards and almost all skateboards are made from a 7-ply maple, which is the perfect combination between flexibility and durability. So most baker boards, including this one, are the OG shape, which pretty much just means that it is a more mellow or flatter deck with round tail and a round nose. Generally, I prefer to skate a more mellow deck because I have flat feet and I also wear flatter skate shoes. However, it still does have some sort of concavity to it, which allows me to have control over the deck. So honestly, I think that the most important thing about a deck is how well it pops. Right off the bat, this deck had an amazing popping feeling and I was getting pretty decent height off of my pops. Of course, nothing lasts forever and the board starts to wear. Eventually you'll start to develop razor tail. However, even with the razor tail, I was still able to get pretty good pop and still decent height. So overall, I would honestly give this deck an overall rating of about a 9 out of 10 in terms of skateability. So the next category is durability. Not everyone is rich. We can't buy a new deck every single week. So for most of us, we have to make the board last as long as possible. So durability is key. Right off the bat, this deck had an amazing solid feel to it. So what I mean by that is that this deck wasn't bending or flexing when I was landing on it and doing tricks on it. Some of you guys may like that, but I personally don't enjoy that and I don't like it as much. So I prefer to have a nice solid firm feel for my decks. So there's one thing that I'd like to mention is that there's a ton of reviews on different decks and skateboards out there on the internet that talk about the goods and the bads of certain decks. But one thing I find a lot of those videos fail to mention is who rides the skateboards, right? The durability varies between a person, let's say, who's 6'9", 250 pounds versus a person who's 5'2" and 100 pounds. So I think it's really important to address who uses that specific skateboard. In this review on my deck, I am 5'9", 175 pounds. So I generally skate flat ground with the occasional stair session. The most I've ever done is 5 stairs. So I'm new to skating stairs. I find them really fun yet challenging at the same time, but I am by no means perfect at skating stairs. So sometimes I'll land just, right on the tail, or sometimes I'll land dead center in the middle of the deck. Of course, even if you land perfectly on the sets of bolts, the board still manages a way to snap. Unfortunately, that's just an unlucky condition and nothing is perfect. So I've been skating this deck for about 5 months or so and I've absolutely loved it. Obviously, with continuous use comes continuous wear. So as you can see, the tail is starting to change its shape. The razor tail is starting to become more noticeable. I've also started to develop a few pressure cracks along the sets of bolts. But again, with continuous use comes wear. But overall, the board feels very solid and is super durable. So I think it's fair that I talk about some of the things that I don't like about this deck. Maybe it's unlucky, but early on, maybe within the first few weeks of using it, I landed a lot on my tail and my nose. So it actually chipped both my tail and my nose, which then further led to delamination of the tail. Of course, it's not the end of the world. It was still skatable by all means, but it was a little bit annoying to know that part of my tail and part of my nose were missing pieces of wood. So overall, I would give this deck an overall rating of an 8 out of 10 in terms of durability. So the last category we'll talk about is pricing. Skateboarding is expensive. From decks to trucks to shoes, it all adds up. This deck specifically costs approximately $100 Canadian, which I believe to be on the higher end of a high quality skateboard. So I guess the best way to justify a price is to compare the price to its overall use. So the longer you use the deck, the more you'll get out of that deck, the more justifiable it is for that certain price, right? Obviously, if the board is worth $100 and it's not very durable and you manage to snap it within the first week of using it, then I truly believe that it wasn't worth the $100. Whereas if you use it for 3 or 4 months and it's still in good shape, it still has that great feeling, then I would say it's worth $100. So a general rule of thumb for me is the board has to last around 3 months. So that typically means that I get 4 decks per year. Obviously, nothing is perfect. Sometimes you get unlucky and the board will snap earlier than 3 months. But as a general rule of thumb, I would say if a board lasts 3 months or more, it's worth the price point for me. So, like I said, this deck has lasted me for more than 3 months. So I would say it was worth the $100. Well, there you have it, guys. This was my semi-in-depth review on this Baker board. I've had an absolute blast skating this deck for the past 5 months or so. Ever since day one, it has had an amazing feel to it. It's also been able to handle my fat ass jumping on top of it on flat ground, but also jumping down on it from stairs. It still has a great pop feel to it, and it has definitely lasted more than the 3 months that I had wanted. So for $100, it was an amazing deck to skate. However, I think it's time to hang up this deck and get a new deck. So stay tuned to see which deck I get next. Well, thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video, comment below what you like or don't like about Baker boards, and please consider subscribing to this channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.